Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to an AFR special event. As usual, I am Kunai0 and with me is C-Carrot.
What a lovely evening for racing.
Yes indeed. Alright, so today we are bringing you something different. We are bringing you a F2 one-off event, which will be the precursor to a full-on F2 season. Now, there are, of course, a couple of different rule changes between F1 and F2. The biggest one here being the introduction of two races. So with F2, you have your qualifying session, your feature race, and your sprint event, which we will be holding. Now, the only main difference there is the sprint event will take the top 8 from the feature race and reverse them on the grid. And also for this particular event and moving on with the season, the car setups will be fixed. So it will come down to driver skill behind the wheel as opposed to those who have advantages with setups and whatnot. So it should be a pretty interesting turn of events as we get into it all. Let's see.
Yeah, pretty exciting to see if the usual faces will float their way to the top again, or we'll have some mystery men come through for a big win. It's a good level of the old F2, a little bit slower. Everyone's got a little bit more time to think, so you can bring the pack together a bit.
Yes, indeed. Alright, so one of the big things, of course, with F2 cars is you have no ERS. You do have DRS, but you have no ERS. The cars also only have 6 gears compared to a Formula 1 gearbox of 8. And they tend to be a lot more twitchy in the lower gears. So you will see a couple of people maybe struggle at the low end when they come around corners because it tends to kick out a lot. You will also see different tyre changes. So with F2 they have super softs. They're super soft, soft, medium, and I don't remember if they've got a hard compound. I'm not sure if they've got a hard compound. I'll have to look that one up. Oh, someone drifting off in the back there.
Yes, much skinnier tyres, I think, which leads to that traction issue. It's a lot of torque, but
alright, so first
tyres.
First couple of people coming across the line now. For Sphinx with a 146.6, CRX with a 147.6, Gus with a 148.9, Revo comes across with a 149.2, and Red Panda with a 150.
Wow.
Now
everyone's a second slower than everyone else.
Yeah, so we're going to have to get used to trying to judge the times because I am not sure what's a good time and what's not. I'm sure that'll funnel its way down as we learn. So let's, now we've got a couple of new faces here. So we'll jump on with Tominator. He's one of the new ones here as he's out on his outlap. And we'll see how they fare. I know that he's trying to vie a seat in Tier 1 at the moment. So we'll have to see how he goes in this race. From what I understand, I think we're only running a 15-minute qualifying. It does say 24 minutes up there on the timer, but to make room for a 100% feature race, I believe they're going to cut this short. So we'll have to pay attention to that one. But all in all, should be in for quite an event because these cars, because of how balanced they are, they're all the same chassis. They're exactly the same. They're identical in every single way.
Spams into the wall. Oh, that won't hurt. Here's another fresh face we've got. Yeah, I love a good spec series.
Look at this. He's losing a lot of traction on those tyres.
Those mediums not quite up to the task, it looks, just at this point.
So, yeah, so with a spec series like this, yeah, you tend to see a lot more closer racing, which will be good. And it'll be really good to see how everyone falls in line with all the different skill sets and stuff. Sphinx setting the fastest lap there with a 146.6. Spam's having a lot of issues with that car there.
Yeah, he's driving like he's got a flat, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't see any.
But he doesn't, I think, but it certainly looks like. I don't know why he's losing the tail, so it might just have overcooked him, and he's just on ice.
Not sure.
Just about to miss the pit exit.
Just! Has to take a second. Righto. So he goes into the pits.
But it's interesting, we managed to get a full lobby. 20 cars on track.
20 drivers, I was going to say that. 20 drivers. This might be the new...
Can't seem to do it for the real deal, but everyone likes to turn up to the fun day.
The other thing that'll be interesting too is, of course, AFR in preparations to start an F2 season and a Formula 1 100% series. And that's going to be the real interesting one, because that's going to be us strapped in for a good hour or more.
And, probably close to an hour and a half. Yeah,
that'll be the interesting one. I'm actually really keen to see that kick off. I think it'll be great, because you'll start to see more emphasis on the tyre strategies, and fatigue will obviously be a problem as well. So very interesting.
Yeah, fatigue breeds errors. We've got a couple of robots out there, it seem to be, or error-free going. That'll be pushes them over.
All right, so judging from who you can see on the grid, who do you think will be our shining star today?
Like, you look at the usual suspects, don't you? You always expect consistency from AC, from Seb, from Revo, but they're in a new beast, new machine, and have their ultra fine-tuned setups. So there's going to be chase and pack. Wahid's always quick. Memphis has pace. Gus has pace. I'm really excited. I hope we have a change. New breeds some new winners. Will do.
Well, of course, like I said, with the sprint race, the top 8 get reversed on the grid. So you'll start to see a lot more fights as those front runners try to make their way up back to the front on that sprint race. So we should see some really, really good switch-ups here. Also, I don't wish this upon any driver, but judging that there's 20 F2 drivers, I foresee some carnage happening as Sphinx and CRX both retire from the session. So they must be happy with what they're doing. Which is Sphinx, of course, on pole at the moment. We're on board with Jacob, but he's doing his lap. I will try and pay attention to Revo and Seb. I'd love to see their on boards. Obviously, 2 great talents from our F1 Tier 1 series. I really want to see how they do in the F2 series.
Yeah, it's a different beast. It really is. The way these cars handle, much more slippery. Obviously, don't have full pace, so. Yeah, I mean, Sphinx is the mark at the moment. He's sitting 3 seconds up. So, I think Revo said his time on mid, so it's hard to tell. But, yeah, but with that whole sprint race, feature race thing, shuffling the top 8, guys like Revo and Pacey don't see a lot of traffic in series, since they're actually out front some. So, seeing them have to deal with that, fly through traffic, is also another test.
Jacob goes across there with a 1:47.5, not bad. Puts him in that second position as we see Revo just coming out of the pits there. So we'll shift down to him. Jump on board.
CRX joins us in chat. Set a nice 1:47.6, sitting third at the moment. He's not too happy with it, but it looked like a decent time at that point. .147 looks to be the place to be. Competitives. You see Pacey's finally going out. To watch.
So yes, Pacey and Seb all getting ready on their outlaps. Revo just finishing up on his outlap. So see how he pulls through on that.
These pink cars.
Looks like Revo and Seb being the teammates here on F2, which would be interesting because usually they're rivals.
Yeah. The Rosberg and Hamilton series. See if it boils over.
See how this goes. Okay, so we'll jump on board with Revo as he comes across on that penultimate corner. Moves on to the straight. Now let's have a quick layout on board with Revo of the Sochi track. So you've got that main straight that really isn't straight because it's got a kink there on the way to turn 2. So here's turn 1 there, and then turn 2 has the hard braking into the slight right-left. Down through the gears. Of course, locking up that front a little bit there. Putting on the power as you come onto the horseshoe. You can hold a lot of your speed through here, but you've got to be careful because if you're not holding this inside line, you'll end up wide, which will be outside the braking zone. As you make your way into turn 4, pump down up the accelerator. As you move on into turn 5. And all again on F2 cars, being very careful because they're very twitchy on those low gears. Moving up through the gears up to turn 6. Then you come up into that right hand of turn 7, which can throw you really bad if you're not careful. Revo does it quite well. Moves on into turn 8 and then into the sharp kink at turn 9. Able to hold that. Down through for turn 10. Now here is the kick bit. So you've got the DRS zone as you come in. Moving through turn 11, which is wide. You end up going from 300 kilometers an hour down to about 170, if I'm not mistaken, down into turn 13. And this is where the car comes really unstuck, because it's got a lot of load on that front rear tyre. But he manages to make it work. Now you go through the tight complex near the end of the track. Turn 15, turn 16. Usually it's down into second gear. He takes it nice and easy. That's good. Ooh, goes a little bit wide. Uses all the curb there. As you move on to that second to last corner, turn 17. Usually holds it in through third. No, shifts down a second. Kicks it up. Yellow flag's up there as he comes into that last corner and then across the line as Revo sets a 146.2 on the super soft compound.
Pretty nice lap that, and I feel like he could have even put a little bit in the tank. So really nice lap. A couple of lockups.
Alright, so now we'll jump on board with his teammate here, Seb, as he comes out of the pits.
Just keep on pacey as well. He's nearing the lap.
Lucas, as always, I'd like the corner names in your best German pronunciation. Well, the hard thing about Russia is that the turns don't have any names. I feel like I want to say that's because the Russians don't have time for shit. But yeah, in Sochi, the turns are turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, they're T1, T2, but still, it's turn 1, turn 2. So yes, they're very strict on their corner names. Yes, Flyboy, we do have a week off from the official Tier 1 and Tier 2 races, but we are doing an F2 event today in preparation for the actual F2 season that we will be starting. And and it should be an interesting one too, because we've got a full grid. So I'm really keen to see how this all pans out. I think we're going to have a fantastic race.
Pacey goes fourth fastest. Left a little bit of a
7-1 there, yep. Everyone qualifying on that super soft compound. Spams, of course, set his time 150 on the medium.
Still sitting P2, Sphinx. You're looking good.
Fastest lap. Did Revo just set a...
Yeah, 145.
145.8. Okay. Done it again.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump on board with his teammate.
Thought he left a little in the tank, and he obviously found it.
All right. We are on board with Seb, also known as BDE Mutant. He makes his way down turn 1. Down in a second. Short shifts into third to keep the traction. Now this corner is going to see a lot of people unstuck, because if you're not careful with your follow through, you end up way too far on the right side, and that'll throw you off completely for that corner. And it's going to be very interesting to see when you've got a full grid pumping down turn 1 into that turn 2, past turn 2, and then into the turn 3 horseshoe. It'll be interesting to see how many people get unstuck by it. So he makes his way now through turn 9 into turn 10, and then into the long DRS zone into turn 12, the real killer. Turn 13 is the real killer. Turn 12 is the kink just before it. Oh, is he getting a tow from his teammate?
Wow.
Oh.
This is some conspiracy.
Here we go. Valtteri, it's James.
Well, they're certainly looking to kick Sphinx off that front row.
Here we go. Okay. Will this put Seb into that second position? Let's have a look. 1:34 on the time right now as he comes down into that second to last corner. Down through the gears, holding the traction. 141. 146.6 the time to beat. This line's just in front there. And he still beats his teammate with a 145.7. So that was a fantastic team play there. If that's the aim, and I'm going to have to say it was, because he was in the right space. He was in DRS zone for the toe.
100% planned.
Look at that. 3,000 IQ plays here from the BWT Ardennes team. And that's them. They've locked out the front grid. So Seb and Revo will be taking their first and second positions respectively for that feature race. You gotta love that. Oh.
Wow. Yeah. The toe hurt Revo. There was just enough to jump him, really. Probably would have been quick enough to get second based on that without the toe. So all Revo did really was help him jump himself.
As we see, some others, the majority of the grid have finalised their laps. A couple of guys here just finishing theirs. So on first glance, so Seb takes pole with a 145.7. His teammate Revo right behind with a 145.8. Sphinx in that third position with a 146.6. And Bandcamp takes up the fourth placed position with a 146.7. Now, Seb is doing a different strat, which is why I gave him toe. Look at that. Revo confirming that in the chat.
Isn't it nice to have the drivers talking straight into Twitch chat before they even get out of the car? That's something.
Pretty good. And it's
don't get that in the real thing.
No. And you also look at that. I mean, that's teamwork. That's teamwork. It's a bloody freaking fun event, and you've already got two of the bigger talents in our Tier 1 series playing the strategy game already. So that's really good to see. And I mean, if that's an indication of what we can expect to see coming into the F2 season, I might get more interested about that than I am about the actual F1.
It will certainly be something that plays a part in the 100% races when the different strategies come into their own. Yes,
of course, that will be something that will definitely be something that will come into its own for sure once we get into the 100% races. Of course, you're going to have races that are somewhat 40, 50, 60 laps in length.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be quite a...
Start making the 2-stop, 3-stop type stuff viable. Certainly isn't something you want to think about. The 50% ones, there tends to be one strategy that works and one that doesn't. There's a few more options.
So I'm going to have to start learning the different team names in F2 because I'm not actually caught up on them. I know a couple, but not all of them, so...
Yeah, very, very...
I'm going to have to get more educated.
Carlin, Dams, WT...
Yeah, you know all the big
Carlin
ones.
And...
So you got ART, Carlin, Dams, BWT, Ardennes, and you got Prima Motorsport, that's who Schumacher drives for. So I know that little bits here and there, but I'm going to have to study up so I can give you guys the best commentary that we can. Alright, so we've only got 3 drivers here still doing their laps.
Rue's hoping he could break out of that 2-minute mark. So he had some troubles early on.
Goes across with a 147.4. So if you have a look at this grid, there's a lot of the 147 club. All the way from 5th to 15th. There's 10 cars.
Certainly bodes well.
Club. Oh, there's a spin. Matadabri.
Oh, Ruse loses it into the wall. He's not.
Oh, and he's got damage as well. I can see.
Shame.
Oh god, he backs it up all the way again.
He was very slidey.
Yeah.
I was watching. Yeah. His setup might be a little bit too quick.
No downforce at all, so that's definitely a pit for him. And that'll probably be it with 8 minutes to go on the clock. I think that'll be everyone done.
Any surprise packets for out of positions? I mean, Apollo Pepsi's a little bit quicker in T1, so hope feel.
There we are. So everyone retired from the session now. So we will be getting ready for our feature race.
Let me say default setups. Are we default medium or letting people change between the different downforces?
No presets. It is fixed. So it is one setup, and if I had to guess, I'd say it'd be the medium one.
Yeah, okay.
But it's one setup given to every driver.
All right, that makes
sense. Yeah, they all have to.
All right.
I'll have to use that. Okay, so Trident, Sauber Junior Team, Univirtuosi, Campos Racing, and MP Motorsport. Those are the ones that I forgot. And I even added some that aren't even in the goddamn game anymore. That was 2018, not 2019. But that's okay. So, Seb and Revo are your first and second positions with Sphinx and Bandcamp just behind them. As we get ready for our feature race. We should be in for a good one.
Yeah, really excited.
Now, funnily
especially
enough,
with the change of grid come race 2 too. That'll throw something in the works.
That's for sure. Now, the funny thing about Russia is, right? Russia is one of those tracks where pole position may not be the best place to start. Because, of course, you have the massive straight, or isn't straight, of turn 1 into turn 2, and you can get a lot of tow being behind the guys in front. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes into it at all.
Yeah, it's definitely unique in that sense to have such a long straight before the first real.
So it'll be
then
how
another
that pans out.
Straight after that first.
Yes, no, Sochi is an interesting track in its own right, and we will see how it all pans out as we get ready for all the drivers to start there. Now, I believe there is a formation lap as usual, so we'll see them go out and get that final sort of.
Well, they say it's usually about 70% of the lap, full throttle around here.
Yeah, it'd be something like that.
There's certainly room for a tow. But one thing we will know is Seb and Revo are racy. They will try and take each other out. No worries about that. They want to be number one. So there won't be any 1-2 strats here. It'll be winner takes all.
That'll be interesting to see how that works. So let's have a look here as they come around on their formation lap. Seb starting on the medium tyre there on pole position. The majority of the grid on the super softs, with Bears, with Impulse, Matter, T-Mac and Apollo also on the medium tyre. F2 still does have to do their first. I think, from memory, the only difference between F2 and F1 is that if you pit under a safety car in F2, it doesn't count towards your mandatory pit stop. Knowing F1 2019's code, I don't think that's going to be an issue because safety car doesn't seem to like to come out. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, so what do we have here? Yep, all the drivers coming back from their formation lap. Actually, just coming out on that back section of the track now. So we've got 14 laps. So 14 laps would be, I think that's 50%.
Yeah, it's quite a long lap around. It's out to almost half an hour of racing. So, yeah, sounds percent to me.
So here they are coming back onto that main straight, ready to line up again. Ooh, someone got disqualified from the formation lap there as they start. So, we have a full grid, 20 drivers. So we should be in for a fantastic race as they all make their way back onto the grid. Now, this is going to be hard to track with 20 drivers, but we will do our best to make sure we stay on top of everything. Let's have a look at all the different... Let's jump on board the Revo there. Okay. Here we go. The lights coming up there, all down. So the lights are out and away they go as they move down towards that turn 1. Massive smoke. I can't see the majority of the grid, but Revo gets off to a fantastic start. He's now in first, and Seb goes up right behind him.
We've got a couple in the wall at the back.
There's a lot of debris happening at the back of the track. I don't know if there's damage or if it's just the bollards on the side of the track that got knocked. But heaps of drivers are getting hit.
Jacobs without an end plate. Oh, we've got someone in the wall.
Yes, I just saw heaps of people moving out of the back there.
Impulse in the wall and back to last.
Oh, man. Okay, so hard to keep track of. We'll
Spams into the wall as well.
Keep it here in the mid. There we go. Some people going wide there. We've got a lot of people switching up positions. Oh, man. This is really hard to... You see so many lockups happening. And this is the wonder of F2. There's a car into the wall there. It's one of the...
He's in the wall.
One of the MP Motorsport cars.
Oh, wow.
And he's way down.
Really struggling. Oh, Dabry gets tapped in the back. Oh, we've got carnage at the back. We've got 3 cars spinning into the wall.
Oh, there's so many.
Gus, CRX.
So many that are just... There's debris all over the track. Oh, my God. Trying to keep on top of everything.
These guys are really struggling to follow each other, I think. They're not used to having dirty air in these cars.
Fixed setup, bringing up all the different tweaks in everybody's driving, and it's so hard to try and follow, but we'll do our best. Let's move up to there as Shrimp takes the overtake there on Red Panda. Red Panda's got the inside line, though. Will he be able to beat him out? Forces him right outside the track. They're wheel to wheel now as they come in. It's that last section. There's probably going to be contact. He forces him off the track. Red Panda takes the position again as Tominator takes the position there from Skins in the back. God. Bandcam takes the overtake up on Seb as well. Seb's down to 4th position. On Ruse, something happened to Ruse there in the back. He's gone down 4.
Oh, wow. I've seen a couple of people peel into the pit. It's probably smart.
Yeah.
Get out of the car and just get some free air.
Probably a ton of wing damage there. 4 cars in the pits so far, and it's only the first lap completed. Oh, man. Okay, so let's jump up a little bit. Seb right on the back of Bandcamp there. 0.2 the gap. Pacey right behind him, so it's some pretty good racing so far. We've had a lot of chaos up in that first lap, but hopefully everybody will start to get into their groove now. Revo away with the lead. Sphinx 1.1 behind him.
These guys might be F1 pros, but they're F2 rookies.
That is a great way to put it. Okay, so, and look, those 4 cars are still in the pit, so that is some serious damage. We do know that the F2 pit crews, they're not allowed to have, they have 1 person per tyre, so of course it's a much longer pit stop. But of course with all the damage, they would have had to replace the front wing, they would have had to replace, it's absolute chaos. As Apollo takes the position there from Jake Meister up in 11th. T-Mac takes it from Jacob as well. Pushes him down more. Alright, so Seb the closest one here with a 0.1 gap behind Ban. He goes out on the wide. Can he take the overtake as they move into turn 13? Lots of load on that front tyre. Ban does it again. He's great in F1. He's great in F2. He does the defensive move and manages to push Seb way back and keeps that 3rd position.
I think that's the medium tyre really showing its inadequacies there in the braking zone and the traction on the way out. Just can't keep up with Ban.
Oh, he just does. Look, he's got great defensive manoeuvres and he knows the tracks, so he knows where to place the car. And he does it within the regulations. He does the one move, centers the car, forces the opposing driver to pick a position, and then he punishes the choice that they make. And it's really good to see. It doesn't pay off all the time, but for the majority of the time, it puts it into Ban's favour. So Seb's going to have to really keep up, knowing that he's on the medium compound. Of course, he does have a lot of tow opportunity with DRS now being enabled since it is lap 3. So we'll see how it goes. Revo is way ahead in the lead. 1.2 the gap between him and Sphinx. And of course, here Sphinx has a 2.9 gap on Bandcamp. So right now, all of the tight racing is happening in the midsection. If we have a look at some of these intervals, 0.3 down there in 11, as T-Mac's getting closer and closer to Tominator. Apollo takes the overtake on Jacob. Let's just pop down a little bit and we'll have a look at this midsection battle.
Saw Tominator. He did pick up a 3-second pen, so he's obviously making a little bit of a meal of it at some point.
Oh, they're both into the wall!
Oh, we've
and
got
they're
an out.
retired. Tominator's retired, but it looks like T-Max managed to get out.
That's the cameraman curse, that one. That wasn't on us.
Yeah, I just switched to it too. God damn it. I'm really bad at that. Oh,
Well, we
that's
saw the action.
So T-Mac manages
First
to
casualty.
survive, but it looks like Tominator has...
We've got a
him
virtual
done.
safety car.
So, yeah, we're going to have to... So, virtual safety car. Everyone's going to have to fall under the Delta time. And, of course, no overtaking during a safety car period. So, unfortunate for Tominator in his first race in AFR. But racing is racing, and that's sometimes what happens. So, quite a heavy crash, I must say.
Yeah, I think we're really seeing... It's hard to follow each other in these cars. It really introduces understeer the dirty air, even more than F1 from what I'm seeing. These guys are just struggling in braking zones, being close.
Ooh, Lotus,
as Lotus picks up a
speed.
speed.
Lotus, man, you're the... Serious to God, Lotus is the most unfortunate, but every single race, it doesn't matter what he's trying to do, he gets hit with something.
Yeah. Pushing that Delta time there, eh?
Yeah. All right. So the virtual safety car comes to an end. It's lap 4. DRS is back on. So we'll see how it all pans out as we are on board with Pacey right now as he tries to take that position away from Seb. Got a lot of, looks like 3 cars in the pit lane. Of course, T-Mac would go in. He would have had pretty serious damage on that wing. Okay. So it looks like everyone's starting to get into a bit of a better groove now. Seem to have some position changes there in the back. All
Yeah,
right.
I've got no idea on the tyre life on here either, but I assume fresh mediums from here will run to the end A-OK.
Alright, so that virtual safety car did wonders for Sphinx. The gap is now only 0.5 between Revo. Revo did have a 1.6 second gap, but it's also did come down. Van Camp hasn't closed his too much. It's still on 2.5 there, so Sphinx has got a little bit of breathing room. There's T-Mac still in the pits. Oh man, the pit times must be... That hurts. The pit times are so long in this.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone's got the same deal.
That's right, that's right.
As I
Oh
see.
my, Pacey tries to go on the inside there. Not quite. Seb manages to keep that inside line and takes up all the track there, so Pacey's going to have to fall back in line.
Sphinx is really putting the pressure on Revo. Revo locking up those last 3 corners in quick succession.
Let's
It's all
punch
over it.
up a little bit as we are on board with Sphinx. Let's see what he does. Comes around
Really
that
neat and
penultimate
tidy
corner.
drive.
Here we go, onto the main straight now. Sphinx is going to have that tow capability. Pacey takes the overtake there on Seb. Good move as Lotus gets another 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Alright, so Sphinx with DRS. Is it going to be enough to close the gap? It's coming down pretty sharply. Seb takes the position back from Pacey again.
DRS works wonders.
Yeah, it
The amount of
does.
straights around here.
Sphinx going a little bit wide there on that horseshoe turn. But he keeps it nice and tight there as they move in. He's keeping the gap really well, actually. On the back of Revo, good job to him. Let's just jump down a little bit. Down into the midfield as we see some tight racing happening here. Jacob right on the back of Spams as Skins takes the position from Ruse.
We've got a car sideways. We've got Ruse sideways on home straight.
Oh, he had a little bit of spin out there, did he? Oh,
Yeah,
he's got to hold the traction.
He doesn't have any wing damage by the look of it, so he should be okay to continue as long as he hasn't stars. He's beaten a big benefit,
Crazy thing
actually.
happening at the back here. Oh my god, you almost had 3 wide there as CRX takes the overtake on Matt. And T-Mac tries to make something of it in here. There's lockups as well. God. Nose to tail as they come through.
I don't think I've unclenched since the start. It's been phenomenal so far, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. There's been a lot of chaos and a lot of trading.
No one trusts their brakes.
There you go, T-Mac trying to go up on the inside. No. There he goes, another lockup there. God, lockups are going crazy left and right here. God, T-Mac pushing so hard up against Maradabri. Red Panda takes the position from Pacey because Pacey pulls into the pits. getting closer and closer. They're 0.2 the gap between T-Mac and Matt. There we are on that on the straight. DRS obviously going to come over, we're not, but he's on the outside of that turn, and that's not where he wants to be. Takes a later braking zone. Will he stay in the... Yes, he does. Well done. So T-Mac takes up that position, moves up to 18th. And that forces Matt Dabry down into 19th as they come on the back section of the course. Let's have a look at these intervals now. Everyone seems pretty spaced out here in the middle. Biggest gap being Wahid there with 28 seconds. Gus takes the position from Ruse.
Yeah, big gap between those who have suffered with damage and needing a pit. And really seeing it's tough to follow these guys. Really tough, especially into the corners as the lack of grip. Suddenly you're locking up. Suddenly you're sliding into someone's rear end. It's F1 on steroids in a lot of respects. Harder to turn in, less grip.
Jacob gets dropped. He is somewhere on the track. He's spun out onto the side. That would explain why he just got overtaken by about 4 cars. So hopefully he'll be able to recover fairly well. 12 seconds now the gap between him and Matt.
Sphinx follows Revo into the pit.
Alright, let's jump up
and
just have a let's have a look at how long this actually takes. We're on board with Revo now, taking things. Obviously, as you can see, only 1 person per tyre, as opposed to 3 in F1. And that puts Revo out in front. Sphinx.
Oh.
Sphinx comes out right behind there.
Lost a little bit in that. Now we'll see how the strategies converge. Obviously, Seb, different strategy, staying on the mediums, but he'll need to come in for those super softs. And he's got it's like about a 20-second gap.
Alright, so Seb takes the fact that he's on mediums and tries to push it as hard as he can, as he puts a 19-second gap between him and Apollo.
Revo want to get around Pepsi as can.
Sure, it won't take him very long to do that.
I think, but it's hard to follow, especially on these mediums.
Ruse gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as Revo takes it up on the outside and gets a fantastic overtake there, and he takes second back.
So Harry's got 20 seconds to close up. What did we see? Was that pit time?
Oh, I'm not sure, but it is in the 8 seconds or something. It's
really so probably long. A good 30 seconds down pit lane, eh?
Impulse gets a 3-second time penalty there. Let's just jump down into the midfield. I see a lot of back and forth between Gus and Wahid here. You can see as narrower tyres make it a little bit harder to gun it. You'll brake traction a lot easier.
Guys at the front are going to be coming up on traffic. Jacob and Ruse come out of the pit. It's 2 minutes down. They're actually going to come out behind Seb. So.
Bandcamp moves up as Apollo comes into the pits. So the tightest racing so far is between Wahid, Lotus and Gus. Got 7 between each of them. Oh, there's a little bit of sideways action from Wahid as he loses traction there coming into the back. And means that Lotus can now close up the gap. Brings it up to 0.1. See if he can make it work here on the straight. A much better corner exit from Lotus there.
Oh, a little bit of a cut there.
But he gets a cut as well,
too.
so 3-second time penalties. I don't think why he's going to have to worry so much. And here comes the toe as he tries to go on the outside. They're side by side. Lotus does get the position there as they come into the braking zone. Contact happened there. Definitely had some little contact, but everyone seems to be okay as why he drops now by 0.6. The gap, CRX picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Lotus broke a little bit early for Wahid's thinking there.
I don't think he was expecting Lotus to come into line. I think he thought he was gonna brake to the side of him and just take a tighter line in the inside corner, but both came out okay with that.
No damage, thankfully. As Seb comes into the pit, keep an eye on that interval. There's some ground to make up, but he'll have the fresh super softs to do it.
So 18 seconds is the gap now between Revo and Seb, and it's dropping ever so much. Seb switches onto that super soft compound. Let's just have a look. Will he come out faster? There goes Revo ahead.
Revo sets the fastest lap on those mediums.
Well. And Sphinx goes ahead as well, so Seb's now going to have to contend with Band as Band flies past him. And Will Pacey managed to get out in front as well. He's coming around the corner now. Looks like Seb's probably going to have him, but Pacey's going to have more speed coming up into that corner. But no, Seb manages to hold it out. So Seb, of course, on the softer compound. Pacey gets a little bit sideways. So Revo takes the lead.
8.5 seconds to make up on fresh super softs. It's something he can do. Got to pull in a good 1.5 seconds every lap from here on, though.
Okay, so we're seeing a lot of position changes at the back as people start to come into the pits there. Impulse, Shrimp, and Matt. Alright, the tightest gap so far right now in the middle there with Apollo. Let's have a look. Apollo gets the overtake on T-Mac. There's a person wide. It looks like Impulse maybe. As Apollo tries to come around the horseshoe. He's going to be down on the inside. No, he pulls back into line. Probably the smarter move. Ooh, a couple of people go wide there. Yeah, that would be actually that would be really funny, Nut, if Seb just disconnects in pure form. Oh, yellow flag, and Ruse retires from the session. What's going on there? Can we maybe see? I see debris everywhere. Oh, he's completely crashed out. His tyres folded in on his car, so he must have had a pretty hard whack into the wall. And now that car's directly in the middle of the track, so will it just be a yellow flag, or will we see a safety car? No, it doesn't look like.
Surely it'll ghost out. Seeing the...
Looks like it's just going to be a yellow flag there. T-Mac, 3-second time penalty. Look at this train happening here. Apollo, Bears, and Wahid. Oh, side by side as they come into that back complex. He's trying to get up on the inside, but Wahid ends up losing that. As Apollo Pepsi manages to sneak right in between them both and gets that 11th spot. Will he take the inside line? Not quite. Wahid's right up there ready to pounce as well, so Apollo better watch out as they come onto that straight. So Bears with a decent launch, but Apollo and Wahid are going to have the toe capability. So how it will affect them as they come into turn 2. Jacob Meister with a 3-second time penalty in the back. Here we go, Apollo trying to go up on the outside, but he doesn't quite have it. Really close there with the wing. Manages to make it contact free though.
Now they've invited T-Mac into the battle as well. We've got a 4-car train.
Running wide past the carpet area.
Using every bit of track and some.
That's it. Oh God, wide again! Impulse. I think he's starting to underestimate the brake potential of these cars.
Seb's coming right up on Bandcamp. He'll be looking down the home straighter. The overtake, if not 4. Seb sets fastest lap.
Yeah. On board with Apollo Pepsi as they come in to turn 13. Hard on the brakes here. See how Impulse can handle the pressure. He did kick out a little bit as he came on this back complex in the last lap, so we'll see if Apollo can capitalise. Spam's taking up that 14th position there from CRX in the back. Oh, Bear's got a fantastic exit on that one. Really put some distance there.
Oh, Seb up the inside of Band. Band is not letting him go past very easily. as you'd expect. Fighting him to the
Seb
death.
takes up that third position. Oh, but he's holding on there. Goes right up on the back. We'll jump on board. Let's have a look from Bandcamp's view as he shifts down. Oh, goodness, contact as well. He couldn't quite pull up the car. Dirty air being a factor in that.
Little brake check, maybe.
Now 0.7 the gap. Spams takes the position back from CRX on 14th. The CRX gets a 3-second time penalty.
Just 5 seconds back up for Evo now, so he's making the time up. He's got 3 laps to do it. Fight's not over yet. Sphinx is next in the firing line, 2.5 seconds up the road.
He's only got 3 laps to do it in. Okay, so let's have a quick update on the intervals. Revo is your race leader with a 3-second gap on Sphinx. Sphinx has a 2.5-second gap on Seb, and Seb has a 1-second gap on Bandcamp, which is going to push him outside the DRS range, so he's going to have an advantage as he goes down the straight from turn 1 to turn 2. But will Seb, on the Super Soft compound, be able to catch Sphinx up before the end of the race? Some close-knit racing there, and there's also some close-knit racing as we jump on board into the middle of the pack. Wahid getting the overtake on Apollo because Apollo's gone into the wall, and that's cost him 2 positions there. Which has also increased the gaps as well as Wahid. Someone's there on the side of the track. What's going on there? Weird, but okay. Okay, so let's have a look at the gaps again. Closest racing here seems to be. Why is Impulse going so far wide? Oh, and he goes full speed right into the barrier. And that's his race done.
Moly.
What the? Okay.
Okie dokie.
There's a very interesting.
That's one way to do it.
That's a very interesting tactic, I'll give you that. 2 spins, game over. Fair enough.
Seen enough.
Okay, so 3 DNFs so far in the first F2 event, as we are coming up onto lap 13. So all the gaps have now extended pretty far. Jacob Meister is 12 seconds behind Matt, who is 37 seconds behind CRX. So that's their race is pretty much done. We'll jump back on to the first 4. See, Seb has decreased the gap between him and Sphinx to 1.1, and he'll have 2 or 1.5 or 1 3/4 laps, I should say, to see if he can do it.
Yeah, I think the lead's all but too far away, but Sphinx has got a battle on his hands for this final lap coming up. Channel is in a Bandcamp fence. Everyone else's gaps are pretty good. There's no DRS in use anywhere on the field right now.
Seb's probably going to get within that to be able to activate it. Now he's just under the 1 second now as they come up. As they're coming up onto that DRS section.
Nope, seeing the penalties start to flow in.
Here we are, DRS straight. Seb's just outside, but he gets the DRS on the detection zone, so he's going to be able to close up the gap as they move into that infamous turn 13. If a car's going to get unstuck, that's what's going to happen. Down through the gears, hard on the brakes as he makes that corner. 0.7 now the gap, 0.8. Will he be able to catch him before the race is over, or will Sphinx hold him off to take that second position? Looks like Band's going to stick with 4th because 2.5 is quite a large gap to try and make on a car with a softer compound. So I don't think Band's going to take up that 4th position. Now it's up to whether or not Seb can take 2nd back. 14th lap has started.
Come on, Sphinx.
So this is the only this is the only chance Seb has to do it. Last lap, he's going to give it all or nothing. Can Sphinx defend his second position, or will Seb take it back and we'll see a 1-2 from the BWT Ardennes team in the first event? We'll have a look. Okay.
However this goes down, Sphinx has had a phenomenal drive.
He has indeed. You do have to give him props. He's managed to hold off. Memphis gets a disqualification for failure to use required compounds. So they didn't change their tyres in regulation, and both of them have been disqualified. Wahid gets disqualified as well. I think there's a bit of a
Gus too.
A bit of a confusion here because these guys don't seem to understand that you do still have to do your mandatory pit stop. So now we have 6 cars that are out.
They pit, they just didn't change tyre. That's
right,
problem.
yeah. It doesn't look like they changed the compound, so it's unfortunate for them, but rules are rules. Okay, so Seb now on the DRS straight. 0.9 the gap. Right now it's looking pretty good for Sphinx as they come into turn 13, down through the gears. All he's got to do is keep that gap for another couple of corners, and he's got second place in the bag, but I don't think Seb's going to take it lightly. But right now, it doesn't look like he can do much. Sphinx driving
Just
a
out of
fantastic
DRS.
race.
A couple of guys dive into the pits in the last second.
And there it is. So Revo takes the win, and Sphinx with an excellent drive holds on to second, and Seb takes. Oh, but he had penalties.
Oh no!
But he had penalties. No way. What a shame. That was such an excellent drive, but penalties push him down in the third. So it's a 1-2 from the Ardennes team. Band comes out in fourth, Pacey in fifth, Red Panda sixth, and unfortunately, and now I know exactly what's happened. The guys that just got disqualified would have pitted under the virtual safety car, which does not count as your mandatory pit stop in F2. And that's where the confusion probably would have come from. Excellent race there as Lotus comes up in seventh across the line. Apollo making his way up behind him. Massive gaps here in the back end of the circuit.
Pretty damn unlucky if you're just about ready to come in for your scheduled pit and suddenly there's a safety car.
Yeah, that would suck pretty hard. Sphinx saying, I'm gutted that I made 3 mistakes to cost me second. Look, listen, man, if it wasn't for those, look, you had a fantastic drive nonetheless. You held off Seb pretty well there, but yes, unfortunately, mistakes did cost you time, and you fell into that third position. But third's pretty good. I mean, for a first
up there with some esteemed company, and you held off Bandcamp as well, which is easy. So that was a hell of a drive.
I think the thing to take note of, ladies and gentlemen, is that if you want to be effective in this series, play the team game.
Yeah, well,
play the team game. Obviously, the tow there from Revo to Seb to get him first on the qualifying session was worked really, really well. So congratulations to Revo for winning.
Yeah, the undercut remains strong.
Yes, indeed.
From a strategy.
But of course, that's your feature race done. However, we still have the sprint race to go. So, as a reminder, in the sprint race, the top 8 results get reversed for the grid. So let's have a look as to how it all pans out for them.
Old man Prost rolls back the clock yet again.
Driving for Renault, got bored with the advisory role, decided to jump in an F2 car.
Yeah, replacing Hulk, clearly.
Alright. So a lot of different penalties were given out, and of course 6 DNFs with 3 disqualifications, which is pretty harsh, but racing's racing, so a pretty good start there. Alright, so that's round 1 done. Now we've got to do the sprint race. So we'll see how things get changed. So of course that'll mean that Revo starts in 8th, Seb in 7th, Sphinx in 6th, Bandcam in 5th, Pacey in 4th, Red Panda in 3rd, Lotus in 2nd, and Apollo Pepsi will be taking pole for that race.
Now this will be interesting.
Oh, yes, it
Balls
will.
to the wall with a upside down table. If we saw there was chaos on lap 1, the feature, what are we going to get here?
Okay. So, with a sprint race, how many laps is that?
Probably half a dozen. But
I can't remember. Sprint race will be. Oh, we'll find out in a second anyway.
6 or 7 or so, something. Yeah, I think the guys know their cars a little bit better in traffic now, so they might a bit, but sure, chaos.
Excuse me. All right, so 15 seconds before everyone's ready to go. Does the sprint race have a formation lap? I don't know.
Couldn't tell you.
God, I don't know these things. I should really know these things.
Ruse is having a fume in chat. Yeah,
About that crash, it did seem
tough,
pretty
buddy.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. There
Yep,
is
we do.
a
There we go.
formation lap, and it is 11 laps instead of 14.
Okay.
And as you can
Not
see,
too much for
Apollo
a sprint
Pepsi there in the front. He's going to have a whole lot of talent and pressure upon him in that first turn. Whether or not he can withhold it is a different story. This will be another... And this will also be a chance for redemption for those in the back. Ruse, of course, having a pretty bad off. Tominator as well.
Yeah, well, I think one to watch there is 5th place Bandcamp. No, he's hard to get around, so that'll be the real hold up for Seb. So.
Now, with a sprint race, I think you don't need to pit. I don't think you need to do a pit stop in a sprint race. I think you can just go to the end. So,
yeah, well, we're seeing everyone sitting on the mediums, so that would certainly make a lot of sense. Gus is out on the super softs, but Gus and Wahid. Taking a gamble at the pace will field, but a pit stop, 30 seconds. So there's a lot of gain to ground to try.
I can see a lot of the grid is on medium tyres, so it looks like they're probably going to try and run right to the end. But they'll probably be really, really bastards of cars to drive with tyre degradation as it is.
They look.
So we'll see how it goes.
Tough and ideal. So.
So everyone's starting on mediums except Gus and Wahid.
Pace is in a good situation here to try and benefit as well.
Right, so for the sprint race, I might just leave it to, instead of tyres, we'll just change it to position changes, and we'll see how much the reverse grid affects the races. 2 people, of course, just got disqualified from the formation lap there. That's why they're sitting on the grid. And there's a yellow flag. Okay, I'm just going to ignore that.
Yeah, just F1 doing F1 thing, but Impulse says we can finish it on the super softs.
Yeah, so the sprint race doesn't require a pit, so it's going to be really interesting because everyone's going to give it everything, but they're going to have to take into account the tyre deg because
those super softs will be pretty wrinkly come the end.
It's only 3. It's only 3 laps shorter.
Yeah,
than the race, so yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Okay, for the second time again. 5 lights, and they're out, and away they go. So Apollo Pepsi has your pole, and he's going to try and defend from Lotus and Red Panda. And everyone's already making. There's a massive crash there, but looks like Apollo manages to stay straight. But Red Panda cops the worst of that, and Band gets forced out right at the back as well.
Oh, it'll be a fly on the wall. They squeeze each other 4 into 1, and that was never going to go. Oh no, we've got another spin at the back. Oh, there's a couple of guys making contact.
So out of all of that chaos, Sphinx gets the best position. There are 5 position changes to make up first, and Tominator gets 10 position changes in the chaos to bring himself up to 7th position.
Bandcamp down 11 spots. That's our old steward and chief will not be happy.
No, that was absolute chaos. Everyone tried to funnel into that turn 1 kink there, and yeah, so many people got knocked out, which we thought was going to happen, but
4 into 1 does not go. They try to make it. Physics replied.
Okay, so Seb takes the position away from Apollo Pepsi. So Apollo Pepsi gets pushed down into 5th position. As Pacey's trying to chase down Sphinx as well. Bandcamp starts to slowly make his way back up through the grid after that horrendous turn 1.
Yet again, we see our usual suspects again at the top 4. Again, somehow found the way there. I guess skill overrides all.
Now, the question will be, can Sphinx, or we got a yellow flag for Sector 3. What's happening? I don't see anybody dropping off real
We've
quick,
got Ruse had a spin, so just recovering.
So the real question will be, will Sphinx be able to do a well enough drive to keep himself in 1st position? Ooh, someone going wide well there. Looks like it was Red Panda. Pacey gets the overtake on Revo as Revo... Oh, Ruse gets the 3-second time penalty for corner cutting.
Into the pits.
Oh, side by side, there's contact on the wheels as well by Gus and Matt, but nobody takes a bad position there, so it ended up pretty well. God, a 5-car train, 6-car train as they come down into turn 4. Gus with the 3-second time penalty, unfortunate. Got a really tight grid rear in the back here on lap 2.
Oh, it's so close I can't see intervals for half the teams, so it's crazy.
Well, the broadcast cam is quite nuts. I'm currently tracking Gus, but there's about 6 cars on the camera at all times. Oh, there's contact a little bit there. Will he manage to get past Matt? He's going up on the outside. Isn't ideal. He cuts him off as well. But that forces him off the track, but he gets the position. And Matt falls down into 10th. Oh, but here comes CRX trying to get up on the inside. Manages to take 10th from Matt, but has to fall behind Gus. Well, that was a great move.
Forced a corner cut there too. On, was it Gus or CRX? One of them had to cut the corner to save themselves.
Jacob with a 3-second time penalty. In the back, Bandcamp slowly but surely making his positions up. 14th now.
It's going to join that big train. Going to have it all to do.
Sphinx with the fastest lap again on the mediums. 149.3. Red Panda with a 3-second for corner cutting. Revo takes the position from Pacey at the front. Red Panda gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Here we go, Jacob coming up on the inside of Matt here. Nope. So close. 0.1 the gap between Jacob and Matt as they come around the horseshoe. How will the handling affect them? Wahid gets the overtake there on Lotus. Keeping track of this is quite difficult. So many cars in that gap. Look at that. Red Panda's left the session. Unfortunate. Oh, there goes a freaking wing. From the, was that Bandcamp that ran over somebody's wing? All I know is it went high in the sky.
Bandcamp's missing an end plate, which won't be helping his cause.
Probably that, then. Not sure what he hit, but my God, it sent that flying.
And same with Jacob, no end plate as well, so there's some wounded cars out there. Obviously, they want to limp him around because taking a pit's suicide right here. So
as Gus tries to get on that inside, will he manage to get it? He gets an overtake on T-Mac as T-Mac forces him out, but T-Mac's on the inside of the next corner, so that's going to push Gus onto the outside, but will he have the traction to take it as they come into the last couple of turns? There's someone into the wall there. I can't quite see it. It's number 7.
Apollo.
That's Apollo. So Apollo gets forced out there. Not sure what happened to him. I don't know if it was contact or just traction loss, but unfortunate for him. The pole goer is now in 17th place.
Yeah, he's down an end plate as well, which probably wouldn't have helped him through that cornering session. It's tough, that corner. At the best of times.
Alright, going to go up a little bit. Let's have a look at the front runners. Sphinx is 4.4 seconds ahead of Seb, so that is a drive and a half as Pacey into the wall as well. And its entire front is gone and it's retired. I didn't quite get a good look, but I'm not sure if he had contact with Revo.
He lost his whole front wing, but
that's
the wheels were okay. So yeah, he's just obviously called it. But Sphinx managed to pull 2 seconds on that last lap as a gap. So the guys behind him fighting is really helping him.
Yes, it is. Lap 4 of 11, so hopefully Sphinx can do the drive of his life and hold on so we can win this sprint race as Seb and Revo... Ooh, a little bit of drifting there from Revo, but nothing he can't handle. So, yeah, unfortunate there for Pacey. Not 100% sure what happened, but from what we saw, I believe it was probably some form of contact that forced him out into the wall.
Yeah, it's hard to tell because sometimes the oversteer just kicks in and they snap into the wall. Spams are looking good. I haven't sitting up fourth. Nowhere in the last race, but the shuffle's working for him well. Him and Tominator was up 12 spots from the start.
Move out into the back. 9th position. T-Mac trying to get up that from Matt. DRS is now enabled.
Yeah, Rouge, she's a cruel mistress around here. It doesn't take much.
0.2 the gap between T-Mac and Shrimp. 0.3 the gap between Matt and T-Mac. So, nice little... Ooh.
Running wide. I was watching him then. He's taken every bit of track and it's finally cost him.
So Matt takes a scenic route there. They come around that second to last corner. Bandcamp, slowly but surely, makes his way through the grid. 11th now.
And then he's got a chance for more here.
And he does it again.
Gets it done.
Makes it past Matt as well. He is driving like crazy and without the end plate. It's got to have some form of effect on the handling in his car, but he's taking it like a champ.
Yeah, he's feeling scorned, but as we know, he's such a smooth driver, so if anyone can deal with that net plate, it's him.
Well, he still has 6 laps to go, so we'll see what he can do. So as we have a look at our intervals
Shrimpo is ready to make a move on CRX. And with him, T-Mac.
He goes a little bit wide there, and it looks like...
Oh, invites T-Mac in.
T-Mac might be able to get it. But he beats him out onto the inside of the corner. T-Mac goes a little bit wide.
Oh no!
Oh, T-Mac's off!
I think he's just got front wing damage.
But
does not take much for that rear to count.
Alright, so Bandcamp makes a couple more positions because of that. He's now in 9th. Wahid takes the position from Jacob there in the back.
Oh, and Memphis into the wall. Same thing, trying to follow a car through an S-bend. Rear tyres just give out and you have a little spin.
F2, certainly unforgiving. As we come down onto the main straight, Lotus and Lotus and Jacob really close now. As Jacob's right up on the back of Wahid as well. Into turn 1, will he take the overtake? He does! He managed to get it, and Lotus is trying to get the toe to overtake as well, and he does! So Wahid loses 2 positions there as they come into turn 2. Good driving by those. Wahid, the worse off as they come around the horseshoe. Wahid gone really hard. Oh, contact there into the side of Lotus. Not sure what happened there. Everyone seems to be okay. Positions remained.
Not many full wings out there, but the red and white curbs, I'm seeing a lot of guys touch them with the rear and then the car just kicks out, so those curbs are biting back.
Yeah, CRX and Shrimp trading places. Oh, there's contact there, forced. Pushes, what's CRX right off the track
CRX,
there.
yeah. Did well to hold
They're
it.
side by side again as they come into the next turn. Here we go. There's the toe action happening. We'll jump on board. He tries to go on the inside. Remember, turn 13 is a hard braking area, so he's going to have to try his best. Hard on the brakes, turns in, they're side by side. He'll have the inside line that pushes Shrimp right up on the outside as well. He has to go up on the carpeted area. So CRX takes the win for that.
tough defending by
Oh,
CRX.
but then he gets a
though.
little bit of traction loss, so Shrimp now has a better exit. So he's going to have more speed. CRX trying to get the block there as they come into that last corner.
CRX is a notorious blocker.
Oh,
we
sorry,
know.
second to last. Forgot the track I was on for a second. Oh, that's pretty hectic. Lap 7. And,
You have to leave it a space. Always have to leave it a space.
Have to leave it a space. God,
Ben's-
we're seeing some intense racing here.
Ben's coming up on that. He's watched that battle and he said, I'll have some of this. And now he's right up on Shrimpo as well.
Okay, so at lap 7, Sphinx is still your leader with a 4.5 gap between him and Seb. So Sphinx is driving like he stole the car to try and keep that pole position. Seb is 3.2 ahead of his teammate Revo and 6.7 ahead of Gus. So now the question that we're all asking is, after Bandcamp's mishap in the first turn, he's managed to put his way up to 9th, missing an end plate, and he's still battling like nothing's happened. So will he be able to climb a couple more positions up the grid? We will see.
Well, see, it's not such a separator now because I think more than half the field's missing half their wings. So we're back to equal ground.
Well, T-Max just left the session. Not sure what happened there.
Oh, he's having a tough day. He just got another penalty, so I think he might have called it.
Okay, so Shrimp and CRX taking positions again from each
Lotus and Jacob getting tangled up.
And
touch each other.
Bandcamp's going to try and take some position here as well, because as they're fighting, the traction loss is hitting really, really hard as it comes into lap 8. So Bandcamp's just watching CRX and Shrimp fight it out and trying to capitalise on any second that he can.
And you know he will.
And you know he will, exactly. Bandcamp does not shy away from battles. We know he's great on defence, but right now he's proving he's fantastic on attacking as well.
Yeah, he's feeling scorned from that start, so he's leaving it all on the table. Shrimp makes the move clean. Can he keep CRX back?
Oh, there's a little bit of contact there from Matt and Band. Wahid and Lotus trading places at the back as well. Matt's really trying out here. He has to go way wide off the carpet. As we start to see people feigning some gaps, Gus rules with 14 position changes in this race. So he's done really, really well for himself. And unfortunate for Apollo, 13 down for him. The unfortunate incident at the start and later on. So Bandcamp now 0.4 behind CRX. CRX 0.9 behind Shrimp. As they come down on the DRX section. Now Bandcamp has DRS available but chose not to use it. Maybe it spaced him? I'm not sure.
It's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off for him, but
Sphinx with a 148.7 to set another fastest lap. CRX goes way wide, which will give Bandcamp a little bit of an advantage as they come down into the last complex of turns. I also just have to comment that with the broadcast cam, you can hear the gearbox changes. But the problem is, because in F2 the way that they sound, if you have enough cars on the screen at one time, it just sounds like you're listening to a bunch of people on typewriters.
yeah, it's...
So Bandcamp takes the position there as Gus goes into the pits. Now, as they come down here, you can see Shrimp making it really, really close to Tominator. Bandcamp 0.3 behind CRX. So Shrimp takes the advantage there. CRX does as well because Tominator's spun. He's now into the wall, so he's got to recover. So Span comes up in a 7th now at Tom's mistake.
He's got almost no front wing left. He's a sitting duck now. He's laying out.
Alright, so after that, another quick snapshot. Sphinx is still in pole with 4.2 seconds, so he's got a very comfortable lead, and hopefully he can hold on to that. Revo 4.7 behind Seb, and Spam's 12 seconds behind him. So the first three are in their own little race right now. Shrimp coming up onto the back of Spams as well. 0.2 the gap. Bandcamp still on the back of CRX. Not going anywhere. Jacob Meister takes 11th in the back there. Some pretty close-knit racing. We'll see how it goes. 3 laps to go.
Strangely enough, Gus opted to put on the mediums at that pit. Obviously just wants to get around the vibe rather than find the pace.
And Shrimp side by side. Shrimp managed to take the position. Band tries to go in hard, but he keeps his distance, knows the rules. Now will he beat him on the inside? He might! Late braking! It forces CRX. Oh no! Band to spin! And the end plate must have cost him there. He loses it just a little bit, and that puts him now down to 8th position. Oh,
he had a nice buffer zone at least, but now he's got to fight again.
It's going so well. It's so unfortunate for him. But the pressure must have been too much. No end plate and fighting for that position there with CRX, and it obviously went bad for him. I didn't see any contact between them, but I'm not too sure on that point. Lotus takes the overtake now.
Oh,
as
Bandcamp
is
stop.
Yeah, Bandcamp has something's gone quite wrong with him. He's had to pull way back.
Have everyone passed? Let's get blue flagged or something.
So now the gaps have become out of DRS range, no one within it. Sphinx is starting to lose a little bit of time, but it's lap 10, so it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to matter. 3.8 now the gap between Seb and Sphinx. But I think Sphinx has enough talent to keep it.
As long as he can stay penalty free, he should be home. As Bam picks up 3.
Yeah, you can see he's fighting the car. He's got a lot of traction issues. So that collision must have given him a lot of damage. More onto the car. So a decent result in the feature race, but unfortunate for him on the sprint. Jacob trying to catch up to Wahid, and Apollo trying to keep onto the back of Jacob there. Jacob and Band, 2 races that have been disadvantaged by what's happened here.
Well, if there's anything we know is if you want to watch overtakes, watch AFR F2 because it's mental.
That's right. It is crazy. You would expect to
no
see
one
a lot
in the
of this
top 8 has started well and finished well.
So it is the last lap. We have a train happening here between Wahid, Jacob and Apollo, each trying to make up more positions that they can. Apollo's missing an end plate as well. We'll see what they can do. 0.2 the gap, 0.3 the gap behind him.
Here's the best place to do it.
Here we go. Into turn 1. Can Jacob make an overtake there on Wahid? He's got the speed, but will he be able to carry it into the braking zone of turn 2? Even Apollo tries to take it. As Jacob does get the position, Wahid has to follow in, but Wahid has a bad corner exit, so Apollo tries to capitalise. No, he follows in. So Wahid maintains that 10th position there. Oh, he's gone for the late break. Apollo with a fantastic thing, but he did cut the corner. So that counts as a 3-second time penalty. Unfortunate for him. It was a great idea, but the stewards said no. So that's going to cost him later. But right now he has 10th, but he won't keep it. All right, as they're coming into the thing, I have to take a second to jump on board with Sphinx. A fantastic attempt on the feature race. Got a couple of penalties, put him into 3rd. However, in the sprint race, he made it through the carnage. As he comes on to the 2nd last corner, all he has to do is not fuck it up. Last corner here, and there's your... Oh, he just won across the line! Wow, what a showboat. So Sphinx takes 1st position, Seb takes 2nd, and Revo's doing a little bit of drift action as well. Oh, he's gone. Luckily, he crossed the line. So there we go.
We've got equal champions for the race weekend, Sphinx and Revo.
There we are. Okay, so Sphinx with your win. Good driving from you, sir. Seb with 2nd position. Revo takes 3rd. Spams takes 4th. Shrimp comes across in 5th. Matt and CRX 6th and 7th. And unfortunately, a lot of time penalties have occurred, so they will be adjusting. Bandcamp managed to make it in 9th. And 4 DNFs, it looks like. In that race.
Not bad.
A pretty interesting race, I will admit. I wasn't expecting that much excitement, but I'm glad that we have it. So obviously F2 is going to be a season to look forward to.
First corner carnage, more of that. So, I know all about that pain from last weekend, but it's fun to watch. It's not so fun to be involved in, but it's fun to watch.
What a fantastic sprint race, and in fact, what a fantastic weekend. I'll tell you what, personally, I am loving this new F2 series.
Yeah.
Gives us
started on a real high note.
Very, very good. So, an excellent drive there from Spinks to win that sprint race. Unlucky for him in the feature race, but he more than made up for it as he celebrates. And a good result, of course, from Seb and Revo maintaining their top positions there.
Yeah, we've got a few guys that'll be licking their wounds for next time out. But overall, I think it was a big success.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's have a look at the weekend result. So Sphinx in first, Seb in second, Revo in fourth. And looks like he got 15 there. So Revo 25 points, Sphinx there. So Seb is your first position driver with 38 points over that weekend. Revo in second and Sphinx taking up third position with Bandcamp in fourth. Okay, so that has been the F2 event for this weekend. I'm Kuno Zero. This is Sea Carrot.
Cheers, guys. See you next time.
We will see you next time. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Bye for now.